Hello everyone, Kappolo without beard and Sarkan here. Today we will look at the Blitz decks for Dash. I will show you the regular Blitz deck and then I will show you the Skirmish Season 7 I think deck. The core of the decks between the two don't change, so you can keep one and just like switch out a couple of sideboard cards for your equipment from the regular Blitz deck. Let's look at those two decks. First, let's start with the regular Blitz deck, also known as like the core for the Skirmish season, but I want to first start with the regular Blitz deck so you can play it at any event. Our hero is of course Dash. Then the main suite of equipment that we want to play in Dash, starting with the headpiece, we have the Crown of Providence. This is like probably the best headpiece in the game. As part of the chest, we have the Tackle of Foundry Heart. This is legendary from Arcane Rising. This is what gives you a lot of resources, blocks pretty well. And it's the only chest piece that we play in this deck. Then for arm piece, we play in most of the matchups Goliath Gauntlet because we want to push some damage. And also it's good with some of the cards that we will see in a second. And for the leg piece, we have our own trusty Achilles accelerators. This is what lets you set up an item and attack, or play two attacks that do not have boost at the end of the chain, or play an attack that doesn't have boost and then end up with Talishar. This is the main weapon that we are going to use for the regular version of Dash, because it pushes a lot of damage, goes over breakpoint. The pistol is too slow and you need to dedicate items to the pistol to make it good. But yeah, this is the core of the equipment. Then let's look at the other equipments that we have in our deck. We have several glove pieces that I will cover probably later. As far as legs, this is an arcane barrier, so if we want to block with the legs, in the past I used to play with Ironhide legs. These are not in the deck anymore. Now instead we play the card from Dusk Till Dawn, the Frontide legs. This is really good against Reiner and against Benji. For decks that you want to race and don't use any card, and you know that you want to block a bit, you want to play with the frontline legs. In the same consideration, in the past we play Ironhide Gauntlet for mainly Benji, and now we have the Frontline Gauntlet instead. So this is probably against Benji and against Reiner, if you know they do not have Scabskin Ladders. If you know that Reiner has Scabskin Ladders, or if you're playing against Kaio, I will play with the Gambler's Gloves. This is pretty good into Kaio, and since we have some cyber slots to dedicate to the equipment, we play with Gambler's Gloves. Then the other two pieces of arms that I have in the sideboard are the Neuron Gloves if you're playing against Wizards, and we have the Galvanic Bender. The Galvanic Bender are better than the frontline arms in case you're playing against a deck that doesn't kill you in 2 turns and you want some extra blocks. But if you're unsure, just play with the Goliath Gauntlet. That's probably your best bet. We have 5 arm pieces. The last piece that we have in our deck, we have the Wizardtronic Model Eye that is for the Wizard. This is an Arcane Barrier too, which is really good. It's a 1-piece equipment that can prevent a lot of damage against the Wizard. These were the equipments. So for this version of Dash, what you want to do is start with the Tackle Pounder. This gives you extra damage. So this is the starting item, is Tackle Pounder. Other items that we have in the deck for this version is the Tackle Core. This is good to like set up the big turns. And in order to fetch those, we have the Spark of Genius. This allows us to get a Tackle Core if we need more resources, or if we go first, we don't want to attack, and if we have this, we can try to find the second Tackle Pounder. This is the item suite. Then we go to the usual suspects. We, of course, are playing with the Rainbow 0 to 6s, 2 of each. This is your best card for 0 resources, 4 damage. The other core card for this deck, of course, is Zipper Hit. We're playing all of them. And last set of rainbow cards we play in the deck is the Throttle. This card is really powerful, especially in Blitz. The yellow one is quite useful, so for this reason we play all of them. Also the blue is still like really powerful. This is the core of the rainbow cards for Dash that I feel like every aggro Dash deck in Blitz should play. And then let's look at some of the cards that are not in rainbow, but it's T-Bone. I feel like T-Bone is less effective, it's not too powerful, the yellow. We still play the blue since it's a boost card in case we need in case boost matters or resource, and the red is still serviceable, so we play those in the deck. And then as a resource, we are playing 2 high-speed impact blue. These are fine cards. It's just a blue resource. I think my deck list is slightly more skewed to the blues, just because I am respecting Kano a bit more, and I have a good number of blues, I think, for the matchup against Kano. This deck list has won many armories, so I recommend you, if you want to play this list, or a variation of this list. I'll show you some variations for it. Now let's look at the cards that are part of the deck. One card that allows you to generate good amount of damage is Combustible Courier, red. This, in combination with the Goliath Gauntlet, attacks for 6, and with the Tackle Pounder for 8. So your opponents need to throw 3 cards in front of it, otherwise your next card is gonna have +3 attack. A card that I found really useful in Blitz, just because there is a lot of armor for blocking, is Scramble Pulse. This gives equipment -1 while defending this combat chain. This is really good to push through Guardians and Warriors. If you don't have this card, probably you will lose against Guardians and Warriors. Next we have Attack for Fatigue. In case we're gonna get Fatigue, we're gonna play with Over the Loop. This is a really good card. It demands a block, otherwise you put it on the bottom. You could play Over the Loop blue as well, instead of the high speed impact blue if you want to. Then one of the new cards that got added with Dynasty is the Pulse Wave Harpoon. This is like a good rate, slightly lower than Zipper Hit, but you can force your opponent to block with one of their cards, or just have their hand information about their hand could be useful too. Like, this is a pretty good card to have in the deck. Lastly, to finish our deck list, we have Payload Red. This pushes damage. If you boost it, you turn this combat chain. This have Dominate. This is a good finisher. And this is the deck that I recommend to play at any random Blitz event. If you know the metagame a bit more in your local area, you could add some other cards. For example, if you have a good amount of Warrior and Guardians, sometimes this deck gets fatigued. So I would probably play Maximum Velocity in it. This deals a good amount of damage, and you can probably cut the red T-bones for it, or the overloop. Cut the overloop and add the Maximum Velocity. But in the dark, if you don't know about the local metagame, I would still prefer to play Overloop. And another card as a finisher that you could play is Overblast. This gets bigger if you boosted several times in the combat chain. You could play this. I used to play this instead of Scramble Pulse in the past, but I will not cut Scramble Pulse. I'll probably cut the payload if you want a bit more damage. But yeah, these are the options. Like, if you want to try out Overblast or Maximum Velocity in the deck, those are your options. So from this core of the deck, now we want to build the Skirmish Season 7 deck. I will keep all of the cards intact. I feel like this combination in the main deck is really good. From here, we are going to cut some of the arm pieces. I will keep the 2 head pieces. I think having access to Arcane Barrier 2, it's really good, and with the Achilles Accelerators 3, so you can pitch blue in order to prevent 3 arcane damage. And sometimes you don't want to use more than a blue, so that's what I want to do. So my idea from here is that we are going to keep the frontline legs for Reiner and only Reiner. I mean, and maybe Benji if you see a Benji in the... But I feel like Benji will not see much play in the Skirmish Season 7. But from here, you see we have many arms, and I will cut all of the 4 arms to make space for the following cards. With Skirmish Season 7, we have an added extra slot. So what I would like to do in this deck is quite simple plan, is to have the pistol plan against heroes that are tough to play against and that will fatigue us, mainly Guardian and Warrior. I've been saying it so many times, Guardian and Warriors this video, but those are like the bad matchups for Dash. You can race anybody else. Maybe not Reiner, or Reiner's pretty close. But yeah, Warrior and Guardians, you want to have the pistol plan. So you're gonna play with the Plasma Pistol over the Talishar, and then you're gonna side in the 2 Induction Chamber. You're going to start with Induction Chamber and 2 Plasma Purifier to get the damage. So the plan is to boost a bit, but not boost too much. But we have these 4 cards in the sideboard for the matchups. And what I would do in those matchups is probably cut cards that are like less relevant. You can cut the 2 red T-Bones. I feel like they're like not that great in that matchup. And probably I would cut either T-Bone or Harpoon, depending how you feel in the matchups. Because you still want some critical amount of boost. But Payload is like, it's gonna be a rarely have Dominate if you're going more for the pistol plan. But it's still a 6 for 2. Maybe it's better a 6 for 2 than a 4 for 1 that you have to boost. I feel like if I were put in the spot, I would probably cut the Harpoons and the T-Bones to add this in the main deck against Warrior and Guardians. And then I feel like I explained the equipment a bit before, but yeah. Warrior and Guardians pistol, anybody else, Talishar. Now we have only 1 arm piece, we have only 1 chest piece. This is against Icelander and Kano. This everybody else. Reiner and Benji, you play with the frontline legs. Everybody else, you play with the Achilles accelerators. This is how I would play, and I would probably play the Skirmish Season 7 deck. I hope you enjoyed this video about the new updates for Dash for Dusk Till Dawn and the deck list for Skirmish Season 7. If you like the video, please leave the like and let me know in the comments how you do in Skirmish Season 7. Even if you play Dash or not, just let me know. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye bye.